Hi guys, in at Paint Tape, we are on site today. I'm here with Sharon. Sharon's done training with us. You've just bought this machine from where?
Oh, it's Spray Makes Sense shop, online shop.
Cool, so she got this from Liam. We set it up in the workshop, so I showed you how to put it together, which you've done, but we still need to flush it. So what we're gonna do is go through the whole process. It's very easy to do it in the workshop because I'm there and it doesn't seem like it's so daunting. Admittedly, because Sharon's obviously involved in the Decorators Growth Club and she's on part of the mentor, I've obviously come on site today to just make sure she gets started in the right way. Josh is here who works with Sharon as well, so he's in the background just watching. I'm not actually going to do it, believe it or not, I've done this a couple of times now. So it makes sense to just take our time, okay, and work through it yourself. So if there's any kind of problems, we try and highlight those before we go too far. Bucket clean water because we want to flush the machine first because it's got a few oils in there from when it was actually leaving the factory. So I want to get those oils out. We're just going to make sure that, again, with the water, because it is the lowest viscosity, in other words, the runniest of any product, if there's any leaks where you've actually crimped them together with the spanners, if there's any leaks, they'll start to show more so with water than paint. So we want to make sure that everything's connected right. We've got no leaks. Then what we'll do is we'll stop and we'll start again, but this time what we're gonna do is actually flush it and get it primed with paint, get the hose primed with paint. We're using Tikkurila Optiva Primer for mist coating. I have mixed it up already. For me, when we mist coating, we've got this product which is pretty much 50% water. Like I said, the consistency for me is single to double cream, and I'm quite happy with that. So let's do this. So let's turn on the machine. Obviously the switch is just here, so let's turn that on. So we're all good. First things first, we've got power. We always do that. We do that on site. We just give it a little turn. Okay, everything's fine. So now what we want to do is start going through like, let's say the initial cleaning process from when it comes out of the factory. Okay, so there's the bucket of water. We've obviously got the rock stopper, which is your first filter. So make sure that that's obviously clean. In the water it goes. Now what we want to do is, you have two choices. You can either put this in another bucket to flush all the oils, or you could put it in here. It doesn't really matter because the oil's just gonna sit on the top. Okay, technically it doesn't really matter. We would just throw the water away once we're finished. So let's put the dump tube, okay? We refer to it as the dump tube. It is the return tube, but we refer to it as a dump tube because we are dumping the water, dumping the pressure, dumping the paint. Let's make sure that the prime valve, obviously, is in the down position for the dump, so you can see that it goes and follows the dump tube. Let's just give it a bit of pressure. We just run it so that the air's gone, okay? And now what we're gonna do is just turn that on for a few seconds, just so we make sure all those oils start to come out of, well, technically on the inside. Ah, well spotted. Okay, really good. Okay, we've not yet put the pressure into inline, but obviously this is open. So now that Sharon's noticed that we've got a leak.
I didn't rig it up for the camera, I promise.
No, it's brilliant. It is really, really good. And that's why we try and make sure, in fact, we've got two leaks. One is obviously at these connectors and one just here where it meets the gun. So what we're gonna have to do is get two spanners, just give it a little nip up. Cool. Okay, seeing as Sharon orchestrated, which she didn't in all fairness, it was tight, it just needed a little bit of nipping up. So we've done that. We'll check it in a minute. I still want to just give this a bit more of a flush. So we're still in the prime position. Let's just get rid of this. Okay, so I'm happy with the fact that we'll try and take some photos in a minute to show the oil sat on top. So what we want to do now is, we're gonna remove the tip, okay, because there's no point doing it with the tip in. Okay, if you do it with the guard on, okay, handy point is where the opening is for the tip, okay, just turn it down, because then it's gonna come this way. So now what I want you to do is pull the trigger, okay, turn it in line, and then just give it a bit more pressure. And let's just get the air out of this. So now turn this in line, that's down to you, okay? And let's just give it a bit of pressure whilst you're pulling the trigger. Again, 10, 20 seconds, nothing major. Okay. What I'm going to do is turn the pressure down. Now what I want you to do is put the gun just away from you and the hose away from the water so we can see as we pressurise it if there is any more leaks. What we're going to do is just turn this up a little bit. All we're doing is turning it up to make sure it will go to full pressure. With water, make sure we've got no leaks on any of the connections now. You'll also know if you've got any leaks because the motor will carry on moving. That was just like a last burst. We've got no leaks.
Yeah.
We've got no leaks. So from a safety perspective, we're good. So now we've dropped the pressure, okay? It's not releasing the pressure, okay? The pressure control is turned down, but this machine is still under pressure, okay? The only way to release the pressure with an airless machine isn't by the control, okay? It's by the prime valve, okay? And if you do this, because it's 3,000 PSI, okay? Hold the dump hose and gently release the pressure all the way down. When you're not using the machine, try and make a habit of leaving it in the dump position. Because then if this got caught in transit in the van or anything, it's not under pressure. Because there's still water in it. And if you did that, there is a chance that you could actually pressurise the gun. So in transportation and storage, everything else, always in the prime position. If it's in the prime, no problem. No pressure, no problem. Okay, we just don't take any risks.
Yes.
So everything's fine, okay? We've cleaned out the oils. You understand the process of that. You only have to do that once.
Yeah.
When you buy a machine, it's only ever got two things in it. Water, paint, painty water, watery paint. It's as simple as that. We try not to take off the hoses. We try to leave everything in a wet state. It stops things drying out. The only thing that we're going to do once we actually prime it in a minute is I'll show to the camera, this little T for the Tritec is where we put the lube. The piston needs to stay saturated with the lubricant. And the thing is as well, we found that if you take off the hose, it allows air to get into certain areas, and we don't want that. We want to keep it in a wet state, keep everything in a vacuum. And what we do is when we finish, or when we start, we top it up, and I'll show you. It'll run down the stem here, and as it runs down, that tells you that the reservoir is full. There's no true, how often you should do it. I say you use it every day. As long as you keep topping up that reservoir, you're fine.
Yeah.
Cool. So let's now prime it with some paint.